Getting skinny. Good morning, it's 9 o'clock on Friday the 3rd of April, which is also day 9 in quarantine. Who could believe it? Day 9 in quarantine. We're not in quarantine, we're in lockdown. Day 9 in lockdown. It's just kind of started spitting a little bit. And can you see, yeah, the sky is quite grey. So we'll see how the day progresses. I want to make some hot cross buns. I've never made hot cross buns before. And this just feels like the perfect opportunity to do that. So I found a Chelsea winter recipe. I think that's going to be a good one. It includes making a little super booster for your like yeast and stuff. So I'm going to go and do that now, and then that's going to need some time to proof. So I'll probably have some brekkie, edit yesterday's video. Hey ho, away we go. So first we're going to start with 1.5 cups of sultanas. Now it says you're supposed to add the zest of an orange to this, but I don't have an orange, so I'm not going to follow the recipe completely. I'm just going to put some of this orange and barley stuff in here with some juice, with some boiling water. Next I'm going to move on to the super booster for the yeast. So I have a bowl and some high grade flour. To that I'm going to add 3 teaspoons of active yeast. I also need 2 teaspoons of sugar. And finish off with 1.5 cups of milk. Now I need to cover this and let it double in size. I'm going to cover it with a damp cloth and put it in the oven with a bowl of boiling water. Mum's leaving the house. She has to go and get a flu jab. Don't get the corona. Goodbye. Oh, do you like your hidey spot? Nookie. What are you doing? She's back. I'll get the hose ready. I have the water ready to sanitize you. Just stand there, I'll throw it at you. The animals are stoked with the sun. Oh, we've got a mix, and under there we've got a tui. I've just checked in the oven, and I think that super booster mixture for my hot cross buns is pretty much ready to go. So I'm going to get our dry ingredients ready in this giant bowl and start the mixing process. I'm going to start with 3 cups of the high grade flour. I'm just going to give that a whisk to break up any lumps. To that I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. I need 2 tablespoons of mixed spice. I also need a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. I need a teaspoon of salt. And lastly, we need 1/2 teaspoon of cloves. And then we just give that a mix. Now I need to finely chop 50 grams of chilled butter. And I'm going to add that into this mix. Okay, so I've just grabbed out the booster that we put in the oven before. And you can see it's risen heaps. So I'm now going to add that into our main mixture along with a beaten egg. So I'm going to mix all of this with a wooden spoon until it comes together in kind of like a rough dough. Alright, now I need to dump this out onto the counter and start kneading. I'm going to have to move you up and out of the way because you are, as you can see, on the bench. And I'm also going to take this off because I hate kneading with it on. Okay, so I think I've kneaded it enough. It's been about 10 minutes, but I'm going to try and do like the window pane test, which is where you like try to stretch out a piece of dough so thin that you can like see through it. I'm trying to show you what I'm doing without it ripping, basically. And that means that the gluten has developed enough. So I'm going to leave this for 10 minutes just for the gluten to relax, and then we're going to add the fruit. Alright, so this has been relaxing for 10 minutes, and if I like poke it, you see like it comes back, which means the gluten has relaxed. So what I'm going to do is just put that to the side, and we have our fruit that we put into that liquid earlier. We are going to strain that off. Alright, so you can see that they've plumped up a little bit, and have now probably got a little bit of zestiness and sweetness from the orange. So I'm just going to dump them out onto the counter and kind of zhuzh them out like this. This feels very strange. Now I'm going to get my dough and kind of like pull it out. And flop it on top, just like that. And kind of like squidge that down. And kind of start to like pull that in together so that everything's like, all the fruit's kind of like inside it. This feels very strange. Apparently I just have to keep persevering and it will work eventually. This has definitely got a lot stickier, but it's not fully sticking to my hands, which is nice. All right. So I think at this stage, I'm just going to put it back into the bowl that I had it proofing it in, that I was mixing it in before, and now I need to wait for it to double in size again. This little area in the corner of my room is kind of like my makeup-y section, and as you can see, it's in disarray. So I am going to give this a little bit of a clean while I wait for the hot cross buns to finish rising. Alright, so I have this all cleaned and slightly more organised than it was. It probably looks very similar, but it's slightly better. So this like white container at the front here is where I keep most of my makeup. Obviously not as much as I used to have if you knew me a few years ago. I have in the back here just a bunch of foundations, and here I have like powders, bronzers and blushes, concealer and stuff there, just a few random lipsticks that don't fit in the lipstick holders over the back, eyebrow stuff. Then we have some like loose eyeshadows and a few more like blushes and highlights and stuff. Oh, and then we have like mascaras and eye products here. Over here we have a bunch of different lipsticks. I pretty much just organise them by brand. You know, like MAC, Lime Crime, more Lime Crime, Kylie, etc. I don't really wear much lipstick these days, so these pretty much just sit here. Palettes I have in this little like letter holder thing, which is very handy. Over the back here I have like hair products and stuff in this little container, makeup brushes in here. I just grabbed these like fake roses from another shelving unit I have, and I moved the white peonies that I had here to another place, which I'll show you in a tick. Deodorant and perfume, and then I just keep like my hairbrushes and stuff here. And then down here is just like a whole bunch of other products that I don't use very often, but I obviously don't want to throw them away and waste them, so I'm slowly working through them. I moved the white peonies that were in the vase in the corner here and have put them over in this corner. I used to have a real pot plant there, but it really was not enjoying that corner of the room, so I've put it out in some sun. So now I just have those there with like cookbooks and stuff down there. And then this shelving unit is an absolute mess and I need to deal with it at some point. The hot cross buns look like they've risen by double now, so I've just prepped a couple of pans and I am going to break the dough into 16 pieces, and I'm probably going to weigh it because I want them to be perfect. So that's just come out of the oven. As you can see, it's definitely bigger than it was. I need to weigh this and then divide that by 16 basically. So I have my scales. I'm just going to kind of hold this in my hand and zero that out. So that's 0, pop that back in, 1463 grams. So I couldn't find a calculator anywhere in our house. I normally just use my phone, but I'm filming with that. So I searched through some drawers and I found this bad guy. Oh, look, it even has a little a ruler in case you need to rule things. Anyway, so our dough is 1463 grams, and I need to do that by 16. So I want each bun to be about 91.4 grams. So I'm going to go through and weigh out our mixture, and then to each of these pans I'm going to add 8 balls of dough. 90 grams, that'll do. And then I'm just going to roll that one into a ball. And pop it into the tray. These little guys are all shaped now, and they're going to go into the oven again with some hot water to create steam, and they need to rise again. Apparently they don't rise in the oven, so the rise that I get on them now, that'll be the size of them when we bake them. So we'll go and pop these in the oven. Now I want to check on our hot cross buns and see if they have risen. Ooh, they look like they have. Oh my god. I feel like these look magnificent. I'm so stoked. They've risen so nicely. So now I need to make the mixture that you used to put the crosses on them, and then I can bake them. So I'm going to make the mixture that you used to put the crosses on top of the hot cross buns. I'm starting with half a cup of self-raising flour. To that I'm going to add a teaspoon of sugar. Then you need 1/3 of a cup of cold water. I'll say about that much. Alright, I'm going to pop that into a bag. I'm not going to bother with like getting a piping nozzle out or anything. I'm just going to do it from a bag. Oh my god.
Look at her butt.
How good do these look? Now we will put them in the oven and we'll have delicious hot cross buns. While we wait for the hot cross buns to cook, we're going to take the little mutts for a walk. Look how green the grass is after only a couple of days of rain. I'll see if I can find a video from last week where we took them for a walk so you can see like literally how dead the grass was. And now how alive it is! How autumny is this? So autumny! More teddy bear and car footage for you guys. Some more wholesome autumn footage. You guys enjoying autumn? The final touch is to just put a little bit of glaze on them. Okay, I've just given Mum, who's out of frame, one of my hot cross buns. Let's see what she thinks. We got a yum! So I feel like it's pretty much been a whole day in the kitchen, again, much like the other day. And that's pretty much going to continue because I'm about to start on dinner. We have a whole bunch of tomatoes from the garden, so I'm going to make some tomato soup. I absolutely love soup. It's one of my favourite foods. Just love soup. Any soup, give me the soup. So I'm gonna make some tomato soup. I'm gonna start making a base, so that is gonna be carrot and onion. Into this pot I'm going to add some olive oil, then add in the diced carrot. Basically my aim is just to soften the carrot. Now I have a red onion and a brown onion. I'm going to chop them up and also add them into saute. And put the onions into here as well. I've got the onions and the carrots sauteing at the moment, so before I start chopping up the tomatoes and stuff, I'm going to make some 30-minute dinner rolls. Just very quick little bread rolls that we can have with our soup. So to my bowl I'm going to add 1 cup of kind of like lukewarm water. You don't want your water to be too hot because it'll kill the yeast. I'm also going to add 1/3 cup of olive oil. I'm also going to add 1/4 cup sugar and 2 tablespoons of yeast. Normally I would like hand mix this sort of stuff, but given that we are trying to do this quickly, I'm going to get the mixer to do it for me. So that is just like the yeast and the sugar and the water and stuff. I'm just going to give that a very quick mix. Just like that, and now we are going to leave that for 10 minutes so that the yeast can start to like puff up basically. So while I'm waiting for that yeast to bloom, I am going to wash these tomatoes. So now I'm just going to basically roughly chop all my tomatoes. I'm not too worried about how diced they are because I'm going to be blitzing it anyway. And obviously because these tomatoes are from our garden, I am going to make sure there's no like gross bits. Do you want some tomato? Clearly not. That's the timer for our yeast. So if we have a look in our mixing bowl, you can see that the yeast has got all nice and fluffy, which is exactly what we want. So now we can add the rest of the ingredients. So we need to add about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Salt obviously gives bread flavour. We're going to add 1 egg. We're also going to add 1 cup of high grade flour. Sorry, we're actually adding 2 cups of this. and we will add more soon, but it's just this initial little mix that we want to have two in. Alright, now we're going to let the machine do the work. So we have another about like 1.5 cups of flour that we need to add to this mix, but we need to do it gradually. So that's not sticking to me anymore, which I feel like is a good sign. I'm going to let that knead for just the tiniest bit more. For now though, this sort of stock mixture, I guess, has been just chilling out for a bit. So we are going to add our tomatoes to that. I'm going to put a lid on it. Just going to turn it up a little bit and go back to our buns. Very, very sticky. So I'm going to try and shape this into 10 like rolls. So I'm not going to be quite as crazy as I was with the hot cross buns. I'm not going to weigh them all out. I'm just going to kind of like roll this out, and then I'm going to chop it. I might try for 6. So I have a tray that I've prepped. I'm going to roll it into a ball and pop that into here. So what I'm doing at the moment is like tucking the underneath under, like tucking under and turning, and that creates like a little ball. They need to sit for 10 minutes just to let the dough rest. Then I'm going to put some little seeds on top and we'll biff them in the oven. So the buns have poofed up a little bit more, as you can see. I've put the tinsiest little bit of milk into a cup. I'm just going to... And then on top of that I'm going to add some sesame seeds. I'm also going to add some poppy seeds. And lastly, I'm going to add some salt flakes. Now they're going to go in the oven for 10 minutes. While the buns are cooking in the oven, that gives us 10 minutes to pretty much finish off the soup. So you can see the tomatoes have like totally boiled down now. So I have my handy dandy stick blender from Kmart and I'm just going to blitz this. And now we can start to add some flavouring. I'm going to start with some basil leaves, some garlic pepper, a little bit of onion salt, celery salt, some garlic powder. I'm just going to go in with some straight pepper. I'm going to put some oregano in this as well. I'm also going to add in some butter. And lastly a bit of cream. And we'll give that a final little blitz. Alright, so there are our buns. I'm going to finish these off with a brush of butter. And now we can ladle out our soup. Can you play me a song on your guitar? Ding 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 ding.